Welcome, everyone, to That Kind of Nerds podcast, a weekly show where we break down what's going on in the nerdy world. I am CJ Mellon, joined, of course, by my co-hosts Brian Thornton and Joshua Burns.
Cola.
A lot of H on that, buddy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that not how you pronounce that?
Wasn't it? No, it wasn't a J. It wasn't a J.
That's not how you pronounce that? Oh, damn. 5 years of Spanish ruined.
The H is silent there.
Oh, you don't pronounce the H?
Not in that way. It's not. No.
I need to go back to Spanish class.
Before we get too far into the podcast, I do want to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by the wonderful people over at Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for geeks, nerds, comic book lovers, and pop culture aficionados. Every month, subscribers receive a mystery box full of collectibles, figurines, apparel, and memorabilia. Each box contains at least $45 in value, and many of the items are exclusive to the Loot Crate community. Each month has a theme centered around major franchises and theatrical releases, so you always get amazing stuff that you want to share with the world and to put on display. Josh even got the DX box for last month, and I gotta say I'm extremely jealous of the stuff that came in it.
It was pretty awesome, man. I got a new set of headphones that are apparently Fallout 4 branded. I've never played Fallout, but these are pretty awesome. I got a Mirror's Edge watch, a giant BioShock graphic novel, a Blade Runner model car for display, a Blade Runner badge, an Escape from New York art print. This crate was pretty sick. It was delayed a little bit, I think, because of production, but it's sick nonetheless.
Well, you have until the 19th of every month to subscribe to the box, and after the 19th, it's gone forever. You can never get it back. So help out the podcast, help support us. Go to www.thatkindofnerd.com/loot. That's LOOT. And there's actually a link right there that can save you money off your first subscription. Again, that's thatkindofnerd.com/loot. LOOT. Not only do you get some amazing things, but you also support the show. So thank you very much for all those who are subscribing to Loot Crate. All right, so let's talk about the wonderful, gigantic elephant in the room, and that is Pokemon Go. It's now officially released to the world.
Not to the world. Canada doesn't have it.
And you guys got to give me, there's a Pidgey nearby. I'm trying to.
Wait, Canada doesn't have it at the time of this recording?
I don't think the Canada or the UK has it yet.
No, see, what happened was Pokemon said, well, we don't accept your silly Star Trekky dollars. We can't be there. And then in the UK, they went, well, you guys are trying to leave the EU, and we're not going to be a part of that.
Wow.
Great Britain.
So it came out, and I was so excited to get it, but it wasn't in the U.S. Area, so I made an Australian iTunes account so I could go.
Yeah,
ahead
you're
and
the reason
download
the
it
servers
early.
are down, asshat.
But that was
you are an asshat for that reason.
I got to play it a little bit before
you
guys
played
did, so I was pretty excited.
it for 2 hours before me because you couldn't wait, and you faked being an Aussie Crocodile Dundee wearing person.
I'm sorry, you wear Crocodile Dundee?
And CJ, you don't have one of these 400 level birds like Brian has over there,
right?
No, I sadly don't.
Is it Pidgeot?
It's Pidgeot.
Pidgeot.
Yes, he actually
I want to. Here's what I'm gonna do. I want to get some general first impressions before we kind of
level 428. By the way,
428. I'm very proud of you, Brian. So, Josh, you're not a Pokemon person. You've never been that. You said this sounds cool because it's mobile, but that was about it. What are your first impressions? This is your first impressions of the game.
Yeah, I think the game's cool. It's not quite as interactive as I'd like it to be, but I think that could come with time. And also, if they don't fix the server problem like in the next 24 hours, this game's done.
All right, Brian, what about you? What are your first impressions?
Upon downloading it, my first impressions were my neighborhood is infested with Ratatats. They're everywhere. And I'm the only one who can catch them. So
why does it say no team? I'm on no team.
You have to be level 5, and then you get to choose a team at level 5.
I'm level 2.
Yeah, you need to choose the red team because that's clearly the most obvious choice.
Why? It actually really is.
Why?
I'll give you. Red team is pretty good
because it's
red and blue.
There's red, blue, and yellow.
It's red, blue, and yellow, which actually have names to them. And screw that. I'm going to talk about either.
But I like blue. I like blue better than red.
Then be team blue.
That's fine. I'm on team blue. Do you want to be on my team? No, you don't. Team red. Okay, it sounds like.
Are you on
I'll tell you this.
blue?
I am on team blue. My first impressions were this is exactly what they said it was going to be. I love the fact that it uses the augmented reality, but it doesn't work for me. And this is something that I think is going to motivate a lot of people to go outside and get some exercise.
Yeah, I actually was going to walk.
Downloaded it, and yeah, I mean, my wife has walked over 6 miles.
No, I was going to walk, and then you made me do this. So,
oh, I'm sorry.
Did you wait? How far did you say you walked, CJ?
My wife and I, we did over 6 miles in the last 72 hours.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, we not only took our dog out for a walk, we took our daughter out to like the park, and we're playing that, and we're just making
completely ignoring your daughter and just playing Pokemon.
No, we take turns, so we're responsible.
Lily's over in the sandbox eating sand, eating whatever little turds are in the sand.
Let me ask this question
next
because
to her, she's still eating sand.
So they're in my house. There are 4 iPads. 4 iPads? At least, yeah, there are at least 4. There might be 5. There are 4 iPhones as well. Could I download the app on all of these devices and have them all catching at the same time?
Yes.
You would need to log into different accounts on each one.
Right.
No, I want them all on my account.
No,
I don't know. It's going to have I don't think it has a simultaneous login. I haven't tried it.
I tried it. It just obviously if you can even get the game to work right now, that's a miracle. But it did not work out.
Can we talk more about that? I mean, really, I honestly think this thing has another day of legs like this, and that's it.
So, I mean, here's the thing. And we have some fan feedback too that I want to get to in just a moment. But right now, the biggest criticism of this game is the fact that the servers are consistently down. And I honestly purposely think that they scaled back some of the features just to accommodate just general functionality of the thing. Josh, I think right now there's just a lot of people who have curiosity kind of going
right.
through.
But that's here's the thing though. There's only so many hardcore Pokemon gamers out of the bajillions of mobile users in the world. So if it can't get fixed, you will lose everyone but the hardcore Pokemon guys.
Right. Yeah. Which is, in my opinion, okay. I'm all right.
No, it's not. No, it's not going to be okay for the app, CJ. This app needs to generate revenue to stay functional.
It needs daily active users, as I learned from watching Silicon Valley.
Oh, very good. Daily active users. I wasn't going to go there because I would be completely exposed as just having this knowledge from
No, but seriously, it does literally need
if it doesn't generate revenue, CJ,
active users.
If it doesn't generate revenue from people spending the $99 for the 14,000 however many Pokecoins, it doesn't make any money. They can't stay functional server wise.
I agree. I think they'll lose a few. I don't think it's going to be a hard drop off like you're.
No, CJ, it's going to be everyone like me.
Okay, all right, true enough. All right, fair. You can.
So you're professional mobile user doing it for fun. Think about one person in the workplace said this was cool, so 30 people downloaded it. 27 of those 30 will fall off if this doesn't generate enough revenue for server upkeep, upgrades, research and development, deployment of new features. There's a whole lot that goes into keeping an app functional, and especially as users increase, it gets exponentially worse. If they can't figure this out, it's going belly up.
No, you're absolutely right. But I have faith that they will do that. So, I mean, but besides the servers...
My only other complaint, as much as I love this game, is the extreme lack of any sort of training or tutorial. You're pretty much thrown into the deep end of the Pokemon pool, and Magikarp's just laughing at you while you try to figure this out.
My cousin Mike, who is...
God. Real quick, breaking news for this.
Go ahead.
My wife just text messaged me and says, "Hey, guess who has all 3 starting Pokemon now? I just caught a Squirtle."
I need to go to the Valley because apparently that's where they are. I've got nothing but Pidgeys and Rattatats and Weedles.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Josh. I needed to share that news. Go ahead.
No. That's cool. He apparently caught a jinx at the gym.
Nice.
Like he's posting all this stuff. He's in Detroit, but earlier he posted something to the sort of in the theme of, is there a tutorial for battling because I'm about to break my phone? Like something along those lines, and he was pretty pissed off about it. But like he's posting all of he's got a gloom. I don't know what that is. He's got this picture of there's this crazy purple sort of vapor around him. He's got all kinds
That's
of just
the incense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that incense?
Yeah. The incense is the little purple stuff.
He caught a Pidgey at his dinner table at a bar. Like, it's really cool because Pidgey sort of perched on top of his wings there.
That's a little odd.
That's a little.
Well, no,
yeah.
I think what they've done right with this app is the ability to see it in altered reality, snap a screenshot, share it across all social media. Because you got to think, like, if you're anything like me, if I post something to Instagram, it goes to Twitter and Facebook and wherever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
A lot of people have accounts like that. That's how it works. And this is happening across multiple social medias. The only thing that gives me hope is that I think they've done so well in marketing and hype. And then the rollout of social media with this has been explosive, right?
Yeah, and this company, by the way, this isn't their first go around. Brian, how do you pronounce the name of the company?
Niantic?
Niantic. They did Ingress, Ingress, which was a game.
Oh, yeah, that was yeah. Craig Phillips used to play that game. CP used to play that game. Yeah, I remember.
Very similar to this. So a lot of people are like, hey, I kind of understand this. Listen, I'm really enjoying it, but I want to take a moment away from us if I can. And I want to have a few listeners chime in with some voicemails that they've left for us. So that way they can share their thoughts on Pokemon Go.
Let's do it.
So this message is from Bobby Palco, friend of the show. I also went to school with him. I know he's a big Poke fanatic.
Friend of the program.
Friend of the program. Long-time listener, first-time caller. So here we go. This is Bobby's views on Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go is everything kid me wanted it to be. Going out and hunting down my favorite Pokemon in real life. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Except for the fact that you can never get on because the servers are always down.
So he's very excited to have it, as I know he would be, but he brings up the valid point that the servers are.
It is a valid point, but let me tell you how excited I am right now, CJ. So on Monday, I gotta fly to Tampa, right? But that means that I can go to the Philly airport and walk around the whole airport. Also, I gotta fly to Tampa, so I got that. The next day I fly to Atlanta, so I got that. And then I'm back to Philly. My point is, if this is really as location-based as it sounds so far, like Brian can't find anything but a Rattata
right
out there.
It's Rattata, but okay.
I don't care. Rattata. It sounds better to me. And I got a bunch of Pidgeys up here. I figure going to different cities is going to be pretty awesome for me.
I cannot wait to go to San Diego in 2 weeks for not just the Comic-Con.
That's going to be insane, dude. Can you imagine if they were as smart as they appear to be in social media thus far? Their presence at Comic-Con will be unbelievable.
Going to be awesome, and I'm hoping there's something awesome that I can catch.
Do you have to fight? Like, do you have to fight other people to get a Pokemon, or can everybody get the same one?
Everybody can get the same one,
but then you can battle all those people, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the battling's not enabled just yet, but you will eventually.
No, it has to happen for Comic-Con.
I really hope it does.
And I'll say this to your point. Pokemon Go is explicitly stated on their website that you do not need to travel across the world to get exotic Pokemon. It is a leveled game. The higher the levels go when you encounter these Pokemon. The only exception I've noticed so far...
You stop pissing in my cornflakes right now?
...is water-based Pokemon are the ones that you have to be near water. So if you're near water, that helps. That's so far the observation I've noticed. However, that seems to be in kind of a gray area because some people are getting regional kind of Pokemon. So like people in Australia are getting a lot of sand slashes and sand shrews, which are exclusive to a desert climate. But they say on their website traveling, you don't have to travel. You could stay in your hometown and still catch them.
The awesome thing about this is Christian is so charged up, right, to take a walk around the neighborhood with me or to go to different places.
Or maybe a drive to work.
Why
Or
don't
maybe folding laundry.
Why don't you just drive and I'll hold your phone and I'll and I'm like, no, we're not gonna do all that. But he's like, we're walking around the neighborhood and he's just not nonstop motor mouth about. I've talked about how he reads. I got him this Pokemon guide. It's a very, very thick guide. And I remember from when I was a kid, I would buy these guides and memorize, right? I would buy a guide to car stereos and memorize everything that was coming out that year. He has this entire Pokemon book memorized. He's telling me what I'm looking at, what they evolve into, what levels they are. I'm going, I don't get any of this, buddy, but I'm so excited that you love something this much.
I did the same thing when Pokemon first came out. That right now is all the original 151. And my wife was like, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's that. It evolves into that. And oh my God. Oh, that's so good. And you could beat this Pokemon with that Pokemon if you had that one.
I'm raising that kind of nerd, and it makes me very happy.
All right. So I asked my friend Soren Erzbeck, who was actually one of the backers for us getting our equipment for this podcast. So big shout out to him. For leaving a comment for Pokemon Go. So he says, the game is a great flash of nostalgia. I really hope that it achieves so much of what it's planning to do. It feels great, and I'm having a lot of joy running around in my neighborhood and catching them, and all that was fun. But when I reached level 6, I started to feel a drag. When the gym system started, it's a cool design. Combat is mainly just tap as fast as you can. The egg incubator will only keep track of your steps when the app is open, so that's a bummer. The servers, though, are the real problem. I would love this game, don't get me wrong, I'm going to play the crap out of it, but there's much to be left desired. The game is so much fun, but it can be so much more. And, he hits the nail on the head for this. The game's got to be open in order to get any of your data. It's a battery killer. But there's so much potential behind this. I'm willing to forgive those faults.
I think that his analysis was spot on. And I think there's some great points in there that go back to what we were just talking about. The income is what is absolutely necessary. And it's not, at this point, I haven't heard anyone talk about buying things.
Oh, and then we turn to Mr. Brian Thornton for the moment. Mr. Thornton, you had the floor.
I ran out of Pokeballs, so I spent 20 real doll hairs to buy more Pokeballs.
That's excellent. No, that's fantastic, and I think that's I think that's absolutely required.
Here's the best part about this. I spent $20 to buy Pokeballs, and my sister, who is not inclined to anything like this at all, she downloaded it, and her first reaction is, "Oh my God, they're so cute." She's texting me all freaking day, asking me questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? What does this mean? What does that mean? And then she's like, how do I get more Pokeballs? I was like, well, you can either spend real money or you can go to one of the Pokestops and you can collect, 2, 3, 4 at a time. And she spent $20 on getting more Pokeballs too. So us Thornton kids have no problem spending real money in Pokemon.
And see, I can't.
Because you're cheap. It's okay.
I'm so cheap. I am. I'm so cheap.
You are super cheap, and you're.
I can't see spending money.
Well, which is insane. This is exactly.
This is the stuff I should.
This is every time. Every time we talk about gaming, I say the same thing. Gaming needs to stop being console based and $60 a piece, and be either a free or a low cost download with nothing but in-app purchasing. And I always give the example of. FIFA on any console, right? You buy it, you pay $60 for it, and you end up spending another $50 to $100 to build your team. This is exactly what gaming should be. And if people actually spend real money on it, then all the things that Soren talked about will be solved very quickly in a way that is applicable to the masses and stable. And I think that that's the key, is we need to generate revenues for this to happen. I'm open to it. If you're telling me, Brian, how many Pokeballs did you get for $20?
I spent $20 and it gives you 2,500 Pokecoins and only 800 to get 200 Pokeballs.
Okay.
So I still have Pokecoins left.
That's actually a lot of
2,500, right? What do you get for? I'm gonna pause and open the app here.
Like in the terms of Pokecoins, it's not incredibly expensive. You can get a decent amount of stuff for $20.
So you spent $20 on Pokecoins.
I spent $20 on Pokecoins. I got 200 Pokeballs, and I upgraded my Pokédex to fit more Pokemon in it. And I still have like 1,500 coins left.
Wait, you updated your deck to hold more Pokemon?
Yeah, my hang on.
You can hold like 250. How many Pokemon are you expecting to have?
I got a Pokemon storage upgrade, and you can't hold up to 250.
All right, wait. You spent $20 for 2,500 Pokecoins.
Correct.
I'm gonna say it because I have to. When it comes time for me to spend money in this app, I'm gonna spend $100. I'm just gonna buy the 14,500 because you're spending $20 for 2,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 times that is 12,500. I get an additional 2,000. So basically another $20 value for spending $100. I'm just going to spend $100.
See, here's the thing for me. I live literally 10 feet away from a Pokestop.
It's still, yeah, but you can only use it every so often.
It's like every
They
5
literally
minutes.
refresh every 5 minutes.
And it may be 5 minutes, but I'm not going to stand there. My point is,
No,
Brian,
no,
I think
right for you. Okay.
For me, and I
And for
think
me.
CJ, for people, the example I gave earlier was people like me, professionals
Right.
who somebody in the office said, hey, this is pretty cool. We're all playing it. People with some additional income, wanting to invest, whatever, families. Christian will go nuts on this forever. So an investment of $100 literally gives me probably 3 to 6 months of amazing time with my son. I'll probably invest that and go, I'd spend 10 times
Very
that
true,
for
yeah.
this amount of time with Christian.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think the transactions, the stuff that you actually have to spend money on is extremely overpriced or anything like that. I looked at it, I was like, I could spend $20. I spent freaking 10 on lunch today. Like I could spend $20 on this game that I know I'm going to get a lot of usage out of.
I'll take a can of tuna for lunch tomorrow,
Right.
and I'll spend $20 today.
Exactly. And
So this has a lot of potential to just like you said, Josh. If they can fix this server thing, make a lot of money.
No, the money. No. You're
the
backwards.
money is what's
the
going to
money
help
fixes
fix the servers.
The money fixes the servers.
Okay, fine.
We need
And
people to spend
also
money.
jackholes pretending they live in Australia help fix the
Yeah,
servers.
you
as
should
well.
not do that.
You really shouldn't.
If everyone in Canada,
If everyone in Canada, which is exactly what I was about to say, or the UK did what you did, that is why the servers are having issues. Because they rolled them out in specific countries for specific reasons, because they had an idea of what the servers could handle for those regions.
So I agree with you. I am the reason that the servers are down. People like me who are assholes. So you have my apologies. My urge to play it early did not help the world. It made it worse.
you just hurt the world.
You hurt the world and my
That's what I
heart.
do. I hurt
You
the
betrayed
world.
me.
All right, Brian, you have some more thoughts about Pokemon Go. What else do you think?
No, I mean, it has nothing to do with what they need to fix. I feel like the only thing I've done was complain about it. And I just wanted to say, I love the game. I'm extremely excited by the concept, and I am going to start walking more. I'm actually, and in the same vein, I do want to say, you should not drive and play this game. That is a terrible idea.
They need to figure that out. It needs to be disabled.
It's something like that.
CJ,
Over a certain speed limit.
People don't walk faster than 4 miles per hour.
I know. I'm thinking of, just like Waze, right? Waze has a feature built into it that you can't use certain functions unless you identify yourself as a passenger, which of course people bypass, blah, 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 blah. I hope they do something like that for Pokemon Go, because I think if you're a passenger in a vehicle, you should still be able to catch a Pokemon
yes,
at
I
a red
agree.
light.
That being said, I was driving home from work today and I caught a ghastly.
Oh my god! Don't play Pokemon Go and seriously. Hold on. In all sincerity, people have already
died over this. So please don't.
And let's be honest. No matter what, no video game is worth that. So please, I urge the listeners of That Kind of Nerd, don't do it. So I will say this: to Pokemon Go's credit, it does really when you start the game up, warn you, please be aware of your surroundings. They're doing their best to try to stop some of the stuff that has happened, but I mean, like, people need to use some common sense, and I really am strongly, and I'm not strongly against like texting while driving, which I should be, but playing a video game.
You're absolutely right. Now, I was messing around earlier. There's no, bodily harm is not necessary in this on anyone's part. Like whether you're playing or whether you're the innocent victim of someone who is just indiscriminately being negligent. So
I want to talk about one other thing too, because we also have another listener's call that we're going to get to. So I want him to share his opinion, but I want to give a couple, tips if we can, if we have some tips that we can share.
Tips and tricks.
The first thing that I'll tell you, because this game has a terrible tutorial, so I think we should.
You mean it has no tutorial?
Has no tutorial, so we should teach people a little bit about it. I want to give you one little hint, and that is the little icon on the bottom that shows the Pokemon. Right, it shows either a silhouette of them if you've never seen them, or their colored picture. If you tap that, you'll see paw prints underneath their picture. The amount of paw prints equals the amount of distance to that Pokemon. If it's got 3 paw prints, it's within a mile radius of you. So the smaller the footprints, the closer they are. If you got the 1 paw print or 0, they're pretty much on top of you. So if you're looking for a specific Pokemon, you can start tracking if you need to go one way or the other.
That's great, because I had no idea what that meant.
Right. So that's mine. The other thing I'll say, there's 2 other things. If you have a Pokemon in a gym, which you can start doing at level 5, if you go to the shop once a day for having 1 Pokemon in your gym, you get free items. In this sense, it's free. Is it Stardust or Moondust?
Stardust.
One of those. Stardust. And I got Pokecoins. I got 500 Stardust and 500 Pokecoins for having just one Pokemon in a gym. So that's my other tips. I have others, but I figured I'd let you guys share. Brian, what's your best tip for newcomers coming to Pokemon Go?
Catch as everything that you see. Like if you see you're infested with Rattatats and you already have 5, still catch that 6th and 7th one. Just because what I've been doing is you can transfer them once you go into your Pokemon list. You can take all the ones that you don't want, keep the ones that have a high combat power, that CP level they give you, and transfer the rest to Professor Willow, because he'll give you candies for each one that you transfer him, and you can use those to then evolve or upgrade your current Pokemon that are in your team. That's how I got my level 428 Pidgeot, and it really didn't even take me 24 hours. It took me a couple hours of catching just a ton of Pidgeys.
And what I'll say too is, by the way, when you transfer a Pokemon to him, it's basically releasing it. You're never going to get it back again. So if you do it by mistake, you've lost it.
Yeah.
So just
be careful when you're doing that.
What else can you give to newcomers? I would say find a Poke Shop that's near you, because that thing replenishes.
Yeah, I mean,
quickly.
I mean, the best way is if you're not like right by it, and like CJ apparently has one like the corner of his home.
I'd step outside. There it is.
If you were by it, those Poke Shops refresh every 5 minutes. So what you can do if you have a half hour to spare is you can
Pokestop.
Pokestop.
You can stop by the Pokestop, grab your coins and whatever, and then just hang out there and use some incense for a half hour and let the Pokemon come to you.
How do you get to be a Pokestop?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
And I'm asking that question because the Pokestop by my house is a church.
There's a bunch of churches. There's a couple restaurants. I don't know. I don't know what qualifies and how you become a Pokestop. Like if we wanted CJ's apartment to become a Pokestop, that I don't think you can make that happen. I think you have to be like a business or something.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what the criteria is. The only thing I can see from it is that it's associated with some kind of landmark system in their mapping, which, by the way, their mapping is fantastic.
Yes.
Building outline
the
shapes,
mapping is
roads.
spot on.
If they could merge this with my GPS,
yes,
it'd
wouldn't that
be even
be great?
better.
Oh my God, it would be fantastic. Josh, what about you? I know you're not a big
No.
person,
Here's
but
my
you're a
advice.
strategist.
Here's my advice for everyone, because here's what I just did. I just spent $100 on 14,500 Pokecoins, and I bought the top end of everything in the store. and I have 11,420 left. So the way I think about it, for the most part, is people with disposable income and some time on their hands really have an advantage in this game, and that's how I'm going to attack this. Like this weekend, Christian's not going to let me sit still for any amount of time. Like I got to take him to swimming at 8:00 in the morning. So I'm going to have to be collecting while he's swimming, and then he's going to want to drive around and hold my phone and do that. So like I feel like this is a really
this is really good for, like, I don't know, people with kids who can get away with hanging out at a park for 3 hours. Those who just have maybe a couple cats can't get away with doing that. It's really
not
creepy.
Many cats.
No, they're not many.
Because unlike the Rattatas, the cat to male ratio is rather low.
Very low.
The Rattata to male ratio is extremely high.
Out of control.
A lot of Rattatats hanging out.
Speaking of which, a Rattata just literally showed up to me too. Here's the other thing I'll say. As I kind of alluded to earlier, this app will destroy batteries. So I will give you 2 recommendations.
Oh yes, CJ. If your battery dies, you will be in darkness.
Yes, I will, Bane. Hey, how many Zubats do you have?
I have all the Zubats, CJ. There will be no Zubats for you. I have caught and broken them all.
You broke all the Zubats?
They are all broken, CJ. My entire Pokédex, I just fill it with broken Zubats everywhere. Professor Willow, when you give me more Zubats, you have my permission to die.
Wow, that was cat to male ratio and Bane within like 2 minutes. I think that's a record.
You're welcome.
Here's my tips for saving your battery. Go into your settings, right?
No, you've already missed a spot. Just
hold on, wait.
No, don't go into your settings. Look, just buy
the settings within Pokemon. Hold on, not your settings.
No settings. Just buy an inexpensive little power pack that goes in your pocket. It'll be a full phone recharge. Just throw it in there and walk around with it. You're good.
Or for free.
No, not for free.
Turn off the music. And there's actually a low power mode setting in the settings as well. Turn off your music because it's boring anyway.
The music doesn't play. The music
on.
Doesn't play when I walk around.
It plays for me.
It plays all the time. Turn off your music. Turn on
but
power
my phone's on
mode.
silent, so the music doesn't play.
Right. Some people don't live in silent, so turn off.
Who doesn't live in silent?
Listen. Turn off your music, keep your sound effects and vibration on, put on low power saving, and then if you're really crazy and if you don't like being awesome, turn off your AR, but then, I mean, why bother? That's what makes the game so great.
Didn't you turn off your AR?
Mine doesn't work because I'm on iOS 10 beta, so
okay.
That's my fault.
Hey nerds, Jared here from First Edition Comics, wanting to give you my opinion on Pokemon Go. Collectively, as trainers, I mean, we've ached, agonized, and dreamt of the moment when Pokemon would be real. I mean, we were running around the recess yards and staring ever deeper into our gray brick that was known as a Game Boy. And then ultimately we were teased with an April Fool's joke by Google, and then bam, the reality has finally hit. Niantic and Nintendo have paired up, and now we're left with Pokemon Go. You know, the system itself and the catching mechanics have definitely been adapted for a more mobile and on-the-go version to kind of keep up the pace at a nice clip. That way you're not, bogged down with 2 to 3 minutes of having to battle the wild Pokemon, but I feel like there's a little bit of a lack of a fully fleshed out tutorial or some sort of tips and hint system. And it makes it a little bit frustrating for some because it's not completely intuitive in some aspects. So that's my biggest issue with Pokemon Go so far. The good just barely outweighs the bad, but the biggest thing is, nostalgia. Here we are, Pokemon 151 doing our thing, VR, or AR, excuse me. Though I do suspect that we'll be strapping our Google View to our phones and we'll be VR in no time. But so long as Niantic, Pokemon, and Nintendo all work together to support the systems and support the updates, I think we'll be in a really good place.
All right, so let's take a breather from Pokemon Go. Now, the discussion is not going to end. I think this is something we're going to talk about for a few more weeks.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to.
I'm still playing.
I want to hear from more of you out there. A couple things you can do. You can call us at 484-373-4119. You can leave a 3-minute voicemail there, and I say 3 minutes because then it cuts you off, so 3 minutes. You can also email us at Pokemon@thatkindofnerd.com with your Pokemon Go experiences, thoughts, theories, and of course, if you got an awesome rare one, I want to see pictures of that. You can also put us on Facebook, and you can share your images there. So let's shift gears, if we may, and let's talk a little bit about this. Amazon Prime Day is coming back July 12th.
I can't wait to get socks.
Really? That's the...
As I recall, that was like 3 of the 4 top things on the first page last time I went in there last year.
So let's set the record straight. This episode's being released on the 11th. Released on the 11th there, which means that the 12th is Amazon Prime Day. So if you're listening past that, you've missed it. How dare you? But for those of you who are lucky, Josh, what is really, honestly, what's the big deal for this? Because I don't have Prime. Should I Prime for that day?
I think that everyone should have Amazon Prime to have Amazon Prime. I think that at this point, everyone who shops online is doing some shopping on Amazon, and the money you invest in Amazon Prime it pays for itself in shipping alone. So Amazon Prime Day is a gimmick generated by Amazon to drive current subscribers up a level to Prime and give some price breaks on really ridiculous margin items. So they're not, to give you an idea, yes, there will be some TVs and there will be some sound bars and there will be some computers, but there will be a low quantity and there will be a small discount. Like, I think the last thing I read, CJ, was that Amazon was already something like 6.3% below the industry average in things like computing. Right. And a 6% discount is okay. On Prime Day, maybe you see that double to 12 or maybe even 15, but there will be so few of them that it won't be impactful. However, there are some commodity type electronic high margin items, specifically in chargers, power adapters, things like that are absolutely a necessity. Say if you're walking around your neighborhood trying to catch Pokemon, Amazon Prime Day is a perfect day to invest in a few small chargers to do that.
True. They're claiming it is better than Black Friday, but I mean, we'll be honest, that's a little bit of hype. Josh, is there any discounts on becoming an Amazon Prime customer on that day? Like, is that something I should invest in? Is that worth it?
No, I don't think so. I think that it's still a $100 subscription, right?
From my understanding, yeah.
Right. So I haven't seen anything other than, anything contradictory to that. I do see.
I see that there's a 32-inch television bundled with an Amazon Fire TV stick for $120.
This whole week leading up to Prime Day. So, like, if you have a bathroom that needs a TV, this is probably a really good, right? Because
I'm sorry, a bathroom?
Like the minimum size TV for any room that isn't a kitchen or bathroom, in my opinion at this point, is probably 50 inches.
All right. No, fair enough. All right. So Amazon Prime Day, mark your calendars. Again, if you're listening to this in the future, you've missed it. Wait for next year. They'll come back. So, Brian, I want to talk about something that you're actually going to be able to see before the rest of us are going to be able to see. This year marks the 75th birthday of Steve Rogers, also known as Captain America, and they are unveiling a 13-foot statue that's going to appear in Brooklyn. However, is going to be shown first at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, yay! I am going to be there.
So you'll be able to see it at Comic-Con. That's going to trek across the country over to Brooklyn, and it's going to reside there on August 10th. They're going to do a dedication ceremony to it. If you can't go to San Diego Comic-Con, which you can if you're listening to this podcast by now, the tickets
went on sale and sold out like 2 months ago. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so they're gone. After they unveil the monument, you can actually get replicas through an online store. But what do you guys think about a real statue for a fictional person that isn't Rocky Balboa, but going to Brooklyn and stuff?
I think the timing is pretty awful that it was 75 years now and they just made Captain America a Hydra agent.
That's a little true, isn't it?
It's a terrible timing on everybody's part.
It just revealed that he's a Hydra agent. Yeah, all right.
Okay, let me clarify. He thinks he's been a Hydra agent since he was a kid. That's not the case. They've already said it's not the case.
Oh, they have?
Yeah, so they just released Captain America, Steve Rogers' Captain America #1, and at the end of it, very big reveal is that Captain America has not been the Captain America that we all know and love for the past 75 years, that he actually has been secretly working for Hydra the entire time. And at the end of the issue, he throws Rick Flag out of the plane, killing him because he needed Baron Zemo to escape for some reason. I forget what. And the last panel is him just saying "Hail Hydra," which spawned all sorts of anger and outrage amongst Twitter and fans, and people who have been reading comic books for 20 years, like myself, are like, "This is not going to last." They've already written the story. It's not going to make it past 6 months to a year at most. And issue 2 came out, and it's been pretty evident that that's not the case. That something happened to him when he got his powers back and got de-aged, and it affected his brain.
So, I mean, does it really smack you with bad timing then? Gets in that they're already starting to unravel that story.
I mean, that again, these stories are written months and months and months in advance. I know this has been the plan since the issue released. I just think it's funny because everybody's got a bad taste in their mouth over it, and now they're unveiling a statue for him.
Josh, what do you think? I know you're not a huge...
So, regardless of how I feel about the comic book, I think that in the current climate of the world, and I'm trying to be, CJ, just as politically correct as I possibly can be, with our political theater being a complete fucking joke, and the way we already look like quibbling, argumentative, cowardly idiots in the world landscape, erecting an idol, hoping for a superhero to save us is probably the worst possible thing we can send out into the world. And
it sounds like that Nickelback song.
Anything Nickelback ever did is the worst thing that can
hero will save
my problem is that we have real problems, like actual problems. And what we're doing is putting up a statue of a comic book hero. While that's Captain America as a symbol is great, but
so let me ask you.
Politically, socially, it just doesn't. It makes us look like morons. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, yeah, like we're not doing real people. We're not handling the situation that we should be.
There's no one American for the past 75 years we can look up to. There's just Captain fucking America.
Yeah, it's in America. Let me ask you then this question. Knowing both of you saying this is a little odd, and I get it, but are you ever going to go see it? Is this something you would stop by and see?
If I'm already in Brooklyn, yeah. If I'm not,
I'm going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm sure I won't be able to fucking miss it.
I would love to see some pictures of that when they unveil it, Brian. I'm putting you on the spot.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have my Pokemon Go app up. I'm going to have I'm going to have actually 2 mobile batteries with me, because between that and taking pictures, my phone will die quick.
A secondary thing.
I want to be very clear. I think that Captain America, the story, the character, represents everything that we should be putting out there. I just don't think it represents us.
I agree. So then, moving off of the comic book news, let's talk about this. Josh, you actually found some fantastic trailers around the internet, so I do want to take a moment. I want to talk about a few of them. The first one I want to hit on is the movie Why Him? This is Bryan Cranston and James Franco together in a movie, which sounds weird, and then it just turns into this glorious thing that I cannot wait to see. We're going to post the link, obviously, in the show notes and on thatkindofnerd.com, so that way you can read it. But this movie looks phenomenal. It is a red band trailer, so not safe for work. So be mindful of that. But what did you guys think about this trailer?
I was pretty interested to watch the trailer because it's a red band trailer and has Bryan Cranston. I wanted to watch it immediately. I saw James Franco and I kind of went, James Franco, I don't like you in anything really. But he was okay. What got me, where I was sort of like, oh, this trailer's okay. I swear to God, what got me was like in the last 30 seconds, Adam Devine had like a 2-second cameo, and that was it. I was bought in. I was bought in immediately. So you got Megan Mullally as well as Bryan Cranston's wife. So I think it's probably worth a watch. I'll have to, we'll probably have to temper that when we see more trailers and TV spots. But for now, this is pretty interesting, I thought.
Brian, what about you, man? What did you think about seeing those two team up in a comedy?
I'll watch almost anything Bryan Cranston does. I think he's a great actor. I like James Franco. I don't know what your problem is with him, but I don't mind him. Will it be something I run a shot to the theater to see? Most likely not.
It's a Christmas movie, so we'll have to talk about it a little.
Keegan-Michael Key of Key and Peele is also
he is the king of making little cameos in movies.
He is, and his cameo in this one, at least what we saw in the trailer, I thought was pretty funny. So
it's always
there are pieces in this movie that sort of take away from the James Franco-ness of the movie.
I will say this, and
it reminds me of Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore. Yeah. The whole mismatched son-in-law type of thing.
Okay.
I mean, the premise of it, yeah.
Yeah, not the exact movie, just the premise. That's what I was saying.
I thought Pauly Shore was sort of the polar opposite though. He was like a real scumbag.
Yeah, I mean it's the polar opposite in the terms of James Franco is kind of overcompensating, and he's a billionaire, and he all that stuff. Whereas son-in-law Pauly Shore was kind of a deadbeat. But I mean, same premise.
Yeah, fair enough. I hadn't thought of that.
Nice job. A+, Brian. Woo! Way to go. Superior blockbuster knowledge.
Gold star.
Right now.
That's right.
I will say this, Josh, and I have to thank Papa Thornton for this. My perception on James Franco changed. I watched 11/22/63 on Hulu, and it's great. It's really
in spite of James Franco.
No, with James Franco. It is wonderful television.
I have to challenge you.
There are fantastic supporting casts that do elevate you up if you really can't get past James Franco, but I actually enjoyed James Franco. I didn't think it was possible. So thank you, Papa Thornton. 11/22/63. Highly recommend it. Even if you're an anti-James Franco person, the supporting cast will
I think James Franco is brilliant. I think he's a brilliant writer. I just think he's dog shit on camera.
He was good in this one. But again, let that be...
Am I the only one that thinks he's dog shit?
No. I think that for everything, really, except for 11/22/63. I mean, just look at Spider-Man, and you'll understand it how bad James Franco is on.
Indeed.
So, but I will honestly say, check that series out. You may have a better perception of it.
That is the second swipe at the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man you made. Do I have to come down there and hit you?
Dude, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans were not good.
In the grand scheme and in comparison, I will don't fight me on this.
I'll take everything Andrew Garfield over everything Tobey Maguire.
Not having this argument with you guys right now.
So that's enough James Franco. Then let's move on for this. I loved the other trailer for War Dogs.
Yeah.
War Dogs.
That looks good.
So with War Dogs, we have Jonah Hill and Miles Teller. Inspired by a true story, but I never believe all of that when I see it on a movie.
No, it's if we've got a sport inspired suspension, it just means that the guys were thinking about sports when they designed the suspension for the car. I always that was a joke.
Just a Mitch Hedberg joke.
When we were again going back to when I was a kid and me and my buddies were reading all these magazines and taking in all this information, there was a lot of that sport inspired, luxury inspired. There was a something recently that was a something inspired crust for a pizza, and I thought the thing that we always used to say was anytime we read something was something inspired, we always used to go super lowbrow and be like, oh, that's a porn inspired bucket seat you're sitting in there. Yeah, we were everybody was kind of just having sex and thinking about how we could be more comfortable in a seat, and that's what we designed. So it's kind of that thing where if I'm thinking of something, that was a wine inspired whatever it was, but it's that kind of thing. I just can't get behind it. I can't.
All right.
And so but the
movie itself though.
There's no truth to it whatsoever, in my opinion. And the only thing watching this trailer that I kept thinking was, am I crazy thinking Jonah Hill's going to die young? Because that's kind of how I feel about Jonah Hill.
The guy is yo-yoing so hard.
Not just the yo-yo, but I kind of feel like he lives pretty fast. And I don't know why I think that about him.
I think it's because of the roles that he's taking.
And maybe that's it. Maybe I actually think of him as his role in The Wolf of Wall Street. But
right, exactly.
But I am. If you say Miles Teller, I'm in. You don't have to say anything more than Miles Teller.
So it's a movie basically about these 20 somethings who start becoming arms dealers and not only deal with shady people, but they also deal with the government.
Am I the only person on this podcast that loved Lord of War?
Yes.
Yes.
I loved
his heart.
I loved it. I loved Lord of War. I don't know what it was about it. Maybe it was the crazy Nick Cage. Maybe it was the Jared Leto. I don't know, but it was a good movie, and I tend to like movies about gun runners.
It was good. Here's the movie, though, that really struck a chord for me, and that was Imperium with Daniel Radcliffe.
Which is not a curse.
Right. But this movie looks... I mean, I don't know where to start.
It is The Departed meets American History X.
A bit. It's a bit.
Yeah,
it's a bit exactly like that. Daniel
exactly
Radcliffe plays an FBI agent that infiltrates a neo-Nazi group, a skinhead group, and it looks intense.
It looks. I mean, the word I have is powerful for it. Also, again, inspired on true events. Man, this looks like a movie that is going to be hard to watch, but worth every moment of it. And just really going to have, I don't know, it's going to have a big impact on a lot of people. And I think this is going to be an incredible
I hope
movie.
that's the case, because Daniel Radcliffe is really very quietly building quite a filmography.
Yeah.
And people aren't noticing all of the things he's done, but he's done quite a few movies that were substantial and not in box office release, but were good movies. So
right, exactly.
This looks like just another one. He's not a... He's a serious actor. I know as much as we refer to him as Harry Potter, this is a serious movie. This is a solid looking trailer.
It was the one that impressed me the most. Do we have a release date for it? I can't find it.
August 19th.
Theaters and VOD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So less a serious release probably than can be expected, but I'm hoping it's a sleeper.
Yeah, so I mean, August 19th, 2016. So very, very soon, it'll be out. I think this is worth your time. Definitely not for anyone squeamish or anyone who's not good with uncomfortable situations, because the lines of morality are going to get pretty blurred.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty brutal.
Last but certainly not least, to round it up on a positive note, is Table 19. Taylor and Judge movie starring Anna Kendrick Anna Kendrick,
Lisa Kudrow,
Stephen Merchant,
Craig Robinson,
that guy from The Office.
It's Craig Robinson, the guy from The Office.
Couldn't remember his real name. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the IMDb. I'm doing this through superior blockbuster knowledge.
So,
but it looks great. It looks like a bunch of misfits shoved into the corner.
Table 19 is the table number at a wedding where they really expected all those people to respond negatory. So all the people that they didn't think would come that are coming, they stuck at this table. So it is sort of the island of misfit toys, CJ.
Right.
And that's kind of what makes the trailer work. So I do think that the movie has promise. I don't think much of the storyline that I've seen, but I do think that, the Stephen Merchant character, as well as what I do like, is that it's going to take place in a short period of time, right? This is all one evening. I do like that format of movie, and I think that they can do a great deal with the storyline. Actually, and I'm going to refer to another movie, 10 Years, which really nobody has seen, has Channing Tatum and Andy Dwyer. Why can't I remember his name? Parks and Rec, Andy Dwyer.
Oh,
Star-Lord, man.
Chris Pratt.
Yes, Chris Pratt. Thank you. So it's
wow, that was embarrassing.
And Oscar Isaac and a bunch of other people, and it was this very quiet and understated movie that really happened over the course of a day or two.
Oh yeah, this movie has Rosario Dawson in it.
Yes, it does have Rosario Dawson in it, and it was a fantastic movie, told very much in the same vein of like a Breakfast Club, or how I imagine Table 19 will be told, which is a core cast of characters, and a story that happens just over a few hours. And those are really some of my favorite movies. I didn't think the trailer did it justice, and I hope that the story is much richer than what the trailer showed. But the movie 10 Years is one of those movies that has released in the past few years that is just an absolute favorite of mine because of the tight schedule and sets that they have. And I really think that the dialogue has to carry the movie. So I'm hoping that same thing for Table 19.
So go to thatkindofnerd.com, or of course, if you're listening to this, you can actually press the album artwork on the podcast app for iOS and look at the show notes and check out the trailers for Why Him, War Dogs, Imperium, and Table 19. I think you'll be impressed with these movies as well, and we can't wait to talk about them as they kind of come out. Thank you for making us your walk around your neighborhood playing Pokemon Go, or your drive to work where you are not playing Pokemon Go. Please don't do that. We want to hear from you guys, not only about the topics that we discussed, but your experience with Pokemon Go as well. So again, call 484-373-4119 or email us at pokemon@thatkindofnerd.com. Also, please take a moment and give us a ranking in iTunes. Write us a review. If you don't know how to do that, just click your show notes. I've added a link, lucky you, and help support the show. Also by going to thatkindofnerd.com/loot to get money off your first loot crate. Again, that's thatkindofnerd.com/loot. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Allow myself to introduce
Myself.
I'm raising that kind of nerd, and it makes me very happy. Brian, you should talk about what you want to say. It's very important that everyone hear your opinions. I can't do Bane. I just had to break the craziness there.
It's so awful. It's so bad. It's so bad.